So how should we read the measures taken now by the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the Director General of Civil Aviation against IndiGo Airlines? Joining me now is Vijay Gopalan, former CFO, AirAsia India. Appreciate your joining us. Mr. Gopalan, everyone is now targeting IndiGo. Today, the courts have targeted it. The government has, of course, ordered a 10% cut in its flight operations. Do you believe that this is the right message that has been sent out to IndiGo for the fiasco over the last week?
Firstly, thanks for having me over, Rajdeep. Pleasure to be interacting with you. I think, yes, some tough measures had to be taken on IndiGo. There's no way that you can wash off your hands saying that, there were operational issues. This is not 10, 15 flights cancelled. I mean, we are talking about literally the entire Indian civil aviation coming to a grinding halt. I mean, so I believe that the measures were justified.
You're saying that the measures were justified, but do you believe that this will set some kind of a precedent now? There will be those who will even argue that is this government intervention in the marketplace, or do you believe that this is the way regulators must act when a particular airline, however large it is, seems to try and arm twist both the government and indeed the passengers?
Absolutely agree with you. Agree with you on the latter point, Rajdeep. There is a regulator for a reason. When things are going as per market practices, we don't have a problem. They don't interfere. But when it's actually affecting the country, I think the regulators have to intervene. I mean, it's like saying there are market practices. You have regulators restricting monopolistic trade practices, and that's actually interference with the market practice. So this is no different. When things are not going as it should have been going, it's perfectly justified for regulators to intervene.
You've been a CFO with an airline. What impact do you believe this will have on IndiGo itself? Is IndiGo simply too big to fail? Will this be just a blip in their balance sheet?
Truth be told, we thought Jet Airways was too big to fail. Initially, we thought Kingfisher was too big to fail. But if at all Indian aviation has taught us anything, nobody is too big to fail. Having said which, I don't want to fearmonger at this point in time saying that IndiGo is going to fold. I don't think that's the right thing to do. But this is going to have an impact, Rajdeep, because 10% of the flights in the festive season, because Q3, the third quarter of a financial year, especially December, is peak for any airline company to see profits. And 10% is a very sizable sum for any airline to take a hit. So it is going to have an impact on their financials, 100%.
But the question we've been asking a number of guests who've come to us on this, do you believe what's happened in the last week will encourage more players to enter the civil aviation industry, or will they back off, fearing that this is an industry where it's becoming increasingly financially unviable, according to some?
This is a graveyard, Rajdeep, and I've also told this in many, many forums at this point in time. We need structural changes if we have to attract more players. You can't have taxes, the fuel taxes at 30% in a few states. It's extremely high. 75% of my payouts are in dollars. And if my rupee is constantly going to be depreciating at a rapid pace, then my costs are going to increase. And we haven't even scratched the surface when it comes to engineering, MRO, and the crew training infrastructure in the country. We are talking about slot-related issues in a lot of airports. Take Chennai airports, I don't think you have sufficient slots now if you want to connect. So there are a whole lot of structural issues we need to sort out and make it a financially viable sector before investors start thinking about coming in here, Rajdeep.
So what you are saying is that this should be a trigger in a way, not just to penalize IndiGo, but also to initiate structural the structural failings of the civil aviation industry in this country. Am I correct?
Absolutely right, Rajdeep. Perfect.
Okay, that's a good way. Not too many guests will say absolutely right, perfect to me, but good to hear that. And maybe some of those structural issues we'll debate. We'll have a round table later this week looking at this critical issue of India's civil aviation sector and open skies policy. The trauma that passengers have faced in the last week has been immeasurable. Thank you very much, Mr. Gopalan, for joining me.